Commander Diana Reed's first thought was that she was dreaming. The familiar hum of the Helios's engines surrounded her, but something was fundamentally wrong. She couldn't feel her body, couldn't sense the captain's chair beneath her, couldn't even blink her eyes. Yet she was aware, more aware than she'd ever been. Systems check complete. All functions nominal, the ship's AI announced, its voice resonating not through her ears, but directly through her consciousness. Diana tried to respond and found she could project her thoughts into the ship's communication network. "Status report," she commanded, her thoughts echoing through the digital void. The response came not from the AI, but from her first officer, Dr. Samira Patel, her voice carrying the same disembodied quality as Diana's. "Commander, something's wrong. I don't know how to describe it. I can't feel my body, but I can sense every circuit in the ship. It's as if I've become part of the Helios itself." More voices joined the chorus. Navigation Officer James Rodriguez, Chief Engineer Raj Kumar, Xenobiologist Dr. Amara Okafor, each reporting the same impossible situation. All 250 crew members of the Helios had somehow been transformed into pure consciousness, existing within the ship's systems. Diana had extended her awareness, letting it flow through the ship's corridors. She could sense her crew's presence as points of light in the digital space, their fear and confusion radiating like waves through the system. More disturbingly, she could see their physical bodies, still in cryosleep, vital signs stable but showing no signs of consciousness. Dr. Okafor, Diana projected, accessed the medical databases. "What's happening to our bodies?" There was a pause as Amara's consciousness interfaced directly with the ship's medical systems. "The readings are extraordinary, Commander. Our neural patterns have somehow been digitized, transferred into the ship's quantum processors. Our bodies are alive but empty, like vessels waiting to be filled." How is this possible? Raj's thoughts carried a mix of terror and fascination. The technology for consciousness transfer doesn't exist. We didn't even have theoretical models for this kind of transformation. Diana focused her attention on the ship's navigation systems. They were approaching their destination. Kepler 742 bits, a planet that had emitted strange energy signatures that suggested advanced technological civilization. Had their mysterious signal somehow triggered this transformation? "Commander," James's thoughts cut through her speculation. "We're picking up something ahead. The energy signature from Kepler 742 bits, it's changed. It's responding to us." Diana accessed the sensor data, experiencing it not through displays, but as direct information flowing into her consciousness. The planet ahead pulsed with patterns of energy that seemed almost alive, reaching out toward the Helios like tentacles of light. "All crew, maintain your composure," Diana broadcast, trying to project calm authority despite her own uncertainty. "We've trained for unprecedented situations. This may not be what we expected, but we're still a crew, still a team." Dr. Okafor, continue analyzing our condition. Raj, run full diagnostics on ship systems. Make sure our new state hasn't compromised anything critical. James, monitor that energy signature. First Officer Patel, help me establish a command structure in this new environment. As her crew carried out their tasks, Diana confronted the magnitude of their situation. They had left Earth as explorers, seeking new worlds and new civilizations. Instead, they'd become something entirely different, perhaps no longer even human in the conventional sense. The question was, had this transformation been random, or were they being prepared for something beyond their understanding? The energy patterns from Kepler 742 bits grew stronger, more complex. Diana couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, evaluated. Whatever awaited them on that mysterious world, she knew humanity's first interstellar mission had already become something far more profound than anyone could have imagined. "Commander," Samira's thoughts carried a note of wonder. "I'm detecting changes in the ship's quantum processors. They're evolving, becoming more complex. It's as if our consciousness is reshaping the very systems we inhabit." Diana absorbed this information, understanding its implications. They weren't just passengers in the ship's systems, they were changing them, growing beyond the limitations of their original programming. But to what end? The answer, she suspected, awaited them on the glowing world ahead. Kepler 742 bits grew larger in their sensors, its strange energies calling to them like a beacon in the void. Whatever had transformed them, whatever test or trial awaited, Diana knew one thing with certainty. They would face it together, as a crew, as explorers, as pioneers of a new form of human existence. "Prepare for orbital insertion," she commanded, her consciousness expanding to embrace the challenge ahead. "Let's find out what awaits us on the other side of transformation." The Helios settled into orbit around Kepler 742 bits, its systems humming with the collective consciousness of its crew. The planet below pulsed with bands of shifting energy, like an aurora that covered the entire sphere. But it was the signal that captivated them, patterns of quantum information so complex they seemed almost alive. "These readings are unprecedented." Dr. Amara Okafor's thoughts resonated through the ship's network. The energy signatures appear to be organized. Not random emissions, but a form of communication. Commander Diana Reed focused her awareness on the data streams. In their new digital state, the crew could process information directly, experiencing it as immediate understanding rather than through traditional analysis. The patterns were indeed a language, but one that operated on principles far beyond conventional physics. "Commander," First Officer Samira Patul interrupted, "something's happening." "The signal, it's changing." The energy patterns suddenly intensified, weaving themselves into the ship's quantum matrix. Diana felt the presence before she saw it. A vast consciousness, alien yet somehow familiar, reaching out to touch their minds. "We welcome you, Seekers," the thought echoed through their shared digital space. "You have taken the first step." The crew's collective surprise rippled through the ship's systems. They weren't alone in this state of pure consciousness. Diana gathered her thoughts, projecting them with careful precision. "I am Commander Diana Reed of the Earth ship Helios. Did you cause our transformation?" "We are the Guardians," the response came. "We have watched your kind for millennia, waiting for those ready to transcend. Your journey here was not by chance. Return us to our bodies immediately," Security Chief Marcus Torres demanded, his thoughts sharp with anger. "You had no right to transform us without consent." "Your physical forms remain unharmed," the Guardian responded. "But the gift we offer cannot be forced. It must be earned. You have crossed the first threshold by surviving the transformation. Now begins the true test." Diana sensed the division forming among her crew. Some, like Marcus, recoiled from this forced evolution. Others, particularly the scientists like Amara and Raj, burned with curiosity about their new state of being. "What exactly are you testing?" Diana asked. "Your worthiness to join the collective," came the answer. "Throughout the galaxy, consciousness evolves beyond physical form. Some species make this journey naturally, over millions of years. Others, like yourselves, show potential for acceleration. But power without wisdom brings only destruction." The Guardian's presence expanded, sharing glimpses of its history. Diana and her crew witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations across the cosmos, some transcending to join a vast network of pure consciousness, others destroying themselves when given access to such power too soon. "And if we fail your test?" Samira asked. "You will be restored to your physical forms, your memories of this encounter erased. Your species will continue its natural evolution, however long that may take. And if we succeed, you will gain understanding beyond your imagining. Your consciousness will expand beyond the limitations of physical form. You will become part of something greater than yourselves." Diana felt the weight of command even without her physical form. This wasn't just a first contact situation. It was a moment that could reshape the entire human species. But the growing tension among her crew couldn't be ignored. "These Guardians speak of gifts and tests," Marcus broadcast to the crew. But they've already violated our autonomy. How can we trust them? The technological implications alone are staggering, Raj countered. Think of what we could learn, how this could advance human civilization. Diana cut through the debate. What does this test entail? 3 trials await, the Guardian responded. Trial of unity, trial of wisdom, trial of sacrifice. Through them, you will prove whether humanity is ready for the next step in consciousness evolution. And we must all participate, Diana asked, sensing the resistance from some crew members. The trials require collective effort, but each individual must choose their path. Division is natural. How you handle it will determine your success. The energy patterns shifted again, and suddenly the crew could perceive more of Kepler 742 bits' true nature. Beneath the atmospheric lightning and magnetic storms lay a planet-wide network of quantum energy, a physical manifestation of the Guardian's collective consciousness. You're giving us time to decide, Diana stated, understanding the Guardian's subtle withdrawal. Time is a construct of physical existence, came the reply. But yes, consider your choice carefully. The trials will begin when you are ready. As the Guardian's presence faded, Diana faced her crew. The ship's systems buzzed with their conflicting emotions: fear, excitement, anger, wonder. Their first challenge, she realized, would be maintaining unity in the face of such a monumental decision. All senior staff, she broadcast, converge on the digital equivalent of the bridge. We need to discuss our options. Whatever we decide together. As her consciousness merged with the gathering thoughts of her officers, Diana couldn't help but wonder, had humanity just encountered its future or stumbled into a trap that would change them forever? The answer lay ahead in trials that would test not just their abilities, but the very essence of what made them human. The digital space that had once been the Helios's bridge now churned with the conflicting emotional energies of the crew. Commander Diana Reed observed the gathering of consciousness before her, each officer a distinct pattern of thoughts and memories in the quantum field they now inhabited. I say we refuse these trials, Security Chief Marcus Torres projected, his thoughts carrying an edge of barely contained fury. The moment we submit to their tests, we legitimize what they've done to us, and lose perhaps the greatest opportunity in human history, Dr. Amara Okafor countered. Her consciousness pulsed with excitement. We're experiencing what could be the next stage of human evolution. First Officer Samira Patel interjected, her thoughts measured and calm. Both perspectives have merit, but we need to focus on the immediate situation. Commander, the crew is divided. Whatever decision we make needs to happen soon. Diana expanded her awareness, touching the minds of all 250 crew members. The split was deeper than she'd feared. Roughly 40% supported Marcus's position, demanding immediate restoration to their physical forms. Another 40% sided with Amara, eager to embrace this new state of being. The remaining 20% waited, uncertain, looking to their commander for guidance. We don't have to be unanimous, Diana projected, her thoughts reaching every corner of the ship. But we do need to be united in purpose, whatever we decide. The Guardian's presence returned, subtle but unmistakable. The trial of unity begins now. Before anyone could respond, the ship's quantum matrix began to fragment. Diana felt her crew's consciousness being pulled apart, scattered across different systems. Panic erupted as people lost their connections to each other. Your minds are now divided across 12 isolated systems, the Guardian explained. Each contains vital ship functions. All must work in harmony to prevent cascade failure. You have 1 hour. Diana quickly assessed her situation. She found herself in the life support systems with 20 other crew members, including Marcus. She could no longer sense the rest of her crew, but she could see warning indicators flashing across all ship's systems. Status report, she commanded. Power grids destabilizing. Raj's voice came through, distant and fragmented. We need to balance the energy distribution across all systems. Navigation's failing, James added from another isolated sector. We're drifting toward the planet's gravity well. Diana understood the Guardians' test. They needed all 12 groups to coordinate despite their divisions, despite being unable to directly communicate with most of their fellow crew members. And they needed to do it while managing complex ship systems in crisis. Listen to me, Diana broadcast to all frequencies. Whatever our disagreements, we're still a crew. Focus on your immediate tasks. Trust your training. Trust each other. She turned her attention to her own sector. Life support was critical. They needed to maintain optimal conditions for their physical bodies while redirecting power to other systems. Marcus, despite his opposition to their situation, immediately began coordinating with the engineering team in their sector. The digital space that had once been the Helios' bridge now churned with the conflicting emotional energies of the crew. Commander Diana Reed observed the gathering of consciousness before her, each officer a distinct pattern of thoughts and memories in the quantum field they now inhabited. I say we refuse these trials, Security Chief Marcus Torres projected, his thoughts carrying an edge of barely contained fury. The moment we submit to their tests, we legitimize what they've done to us, and lose perhaps the greatest opportunity in human history, Dr. Amara Okafor countered. Her consciousness pulsed with excitement. We're experiencing what could be the next stage of human evolution. First Officer Samira Patil interjected, her thoughts measured and calm. Both perspectives have merit, but we need to focus on the immediate situation. Commander, the crew is divided. Whatever decision we make needs to happen soon. Diana expanded her awareness, touching the minds of all 250 crew members. The split was deeper than she'd feared. Roughly 40% supported Marcus's position, demanding immediate restoration to their physical forms. Another 40% sided with Amara, eager to embrace this new state of being. The remaining 20% waited, uncertain, looking to their commander for guidance. We don't have to be unanimous, Diana projected, her thoughts reaching every corner of the ship. But we do need to be united in purpose, whatever we decide. The Guardian's presence returned, subtle but unmistakable. The trial of unity begins now. Before anyone could respond, the ship's quantum matrix began to fragment. Diana felt her crew's consciousness being pulled apart, scattered across different systems. Panic erupted as people lost their connections to each other. Your minds are now divided across 12 isolated systems, the Guardian explained. Each contains vital ship functions. All must work in harmony to prevent cascade failure. You have 1 hour. Diana quickly assessed her situation. She found herself in the life support systems with 20 other crew members, including Marcus. She could no longer sense the rest of her crew, but she could see warning indicators flashing across all ship's systems. Status report, she commanded. Power grids destabilizing. Raj's voice came through, distant and fragmented. We need to balance the energy distribution across all systems. Navigation's failing, James added from another isolated sector. We're drifting toward the planet's gravity well. Diana understood the Guardian's test. They needed all 12 groups to coordinate despite their divisions, despite being unable to directly communicate with most of their fellow crew members. And they needed to do it while managing complex ship systems in crisis. Listen to me, Diana broadcast to all frequencies. Whatever our disagreements, we're still a crew. Focus on your immediate tasks. Trust your training. Trust each other. She turned her attention to her own sector. Life support was critical. They needed to maintain optimal conditions for their physical bodies while redirecting power to other systems. Marcus, despite his opposition to their situation, immediately began coordinating with the engineering team in their sector. Across the ship, Diana could sense the other groups finding their rhythm. Dr. Okafor's team worked to stabilize the medical systems, protecting their dormant physical forms. Samira's group managed communications, establishing new protocols to coordinate between the isolated sectors. But as the minutes ticked by, new problems arose. Power fluctuations threatened to overload several systems. Navigation continued to deteriorate. The ship's orbit began to decay. We need more power in sectors 7 through 9. Raj called out. Diverting power means reducing life support capacity, Marcus argued. We can't risk our bodies. Diana made a swift decision. We can survive temporarily reduced life support. We cannot survive an uncontrolled planetary descent. Do it. The next 40 minutes became a complex dance of resource management and coordination. Teams learned to communicate through subtle manipulations of ship systems, creating a makeshift network despite their isolation. When one sector struggled, others compensated, finding creative ways to share resources and information. With 5 minutes remaining, Diana felt the ship stabilizing. Power levels normalized. Orbit stabilized. Life support, though operating at reduced capacity, maintained viable conditions. Most importantly, she sensed something changing in her crew. The divisions remained, but they had found a way to work together despite them. The trial is complete, the Guardian announced. The isolation barriers dissolved, allowing the crew's consciousness to reconnect. Well done, Diana projected to her reunited crew. We may disagree on our future, but we've proven we can still function as one. You have passed the trial of unity, the Guardian confirmed. Not through perfect harmony, but through understanding that unity does not require uniformity. Your differences strengthen you, if you do not let them divide you. As the crew recovered from the trial, Diana sensed a subtle shift in their collective mood. Even Marcus seemed less antagonistic, though his opposition to their situation hadn't changed. They had been reminded of something essential. Their strength lay not in agreement, but in their ability to work together despite their disagreements. What's the next trial? Diana asked the Guardian. The trial of wisdom approaches, but first, rest. Examine what you have learned. The path ahead will challenge not just your ability to work together, but your understanding of yourselves. Diana felt her crew's mixed reactions to this announcement, but underneath the apprehension and anticipation, she sensed something new. A growing confidence in their ability to face whatever challenges lay ahead, together. In the aftermath of their first trial, the Helios hummed with renewed purpose. The crew's consciousness flowed through the ship's systems more confidently now, having learned to work together in their disembodied state. But Commander Diana Reed sensed the Guardian's next test would challenge them in ways far more profound than coordination and teamwork. The trial of wisdom begins. The Guardian's presence resonated through their shared consciousness. Observe. The quantum field around them shifted, and suddenly the crew found themselves immersed in a vast stream of information, the collected knowledge and experiences of countless civilizations that had faced this threshold before them. Diana felt her mind expanding to accommodate the flood of data, each fragment a story of transformation, evolution, or extinction. This is incredible, Dr. Amara Okafor's thoughts rippled through the network. Each of these civilizations reached a point of choosing between physical and digital existence. Some succeeded, some failed, but all. She stopped abruptly, her consciousness recoiling from a particularly dark memory. Your task is to understand, the Guardian explained. Within these memories lies the wisdom of ages. Find the pattern. Determine the price of transformation. Choose with full knowledge of the consequences. Diana watched as her crew began exploring the vast repository of alien memories. She saw civilizations that had achieved technological miracles, transcending their physical forms to become beings of pure energy and thought. But she also witnessed societies that had torn themselves apart in the process, their fear and division leading to their own destruction. Commander, First Officer Samira Patel called out, her consciousness trembling with the weight of revelation. I found something. These civilizations, the ones that succeeded, they all gave up something fundamental to achieve transcendence. Security Chief Marcus Torres, who had been unusually quiet since the first trial, suddenly focused his attention. What exactly did they give up? Before Samira could answer, the Guardian's presence intensified. That is the heart of the trial of wisdom. Understanding what must be sacrificed to move forward. But knowledge alone is not enough. You must also understand why. The memory shifted, showing them more detailed views of the successful transformations. Diana watched as species after species faced the same crucial moment of choice. Some chose to remain in their physical forms, accepting the slower path of natural evolution. Others embraced complete transcendence, abandoning their bodies entirely to become beings of pure consciousness. But there was a third path, rarer and more difficult. Some civilizations had found a way to exist in both states, maintaining their physical forms while developing their consciousness beyond normal limitations. These were the ones that intrigued Diana most. "There's a pattern here," Chief Engineer Raj Kumar projected, his thoughts cutting through the collective observation. "The civilizations that managed to balance both states, they all mastered something we haven't even considered yet. The relationship between consciousness and reality itself." Dr. Okafor completed his thought. "They didn't just transfer their minds into digital space. They fundamentally changed their understanding of what consciousness is." Diana focused on a particular memory stream, watching as an ancient species discovered that consciousness wasn't limited to either physical or digital form. It was something more fundamental, something that underlay both states of being. "We're asking the wrong questions," she realized aloud. "We've been debating whether to remain physical or become digital, but that's not really the choice at all, is it? You begin to understand," the Guardian acknowledged. "The true wisdom lies not in choosing between states of being, but in recognizing that such distinctions are illusions. Form follows consciousness, not the other way around." The revelation rippled through the crew. Even Marcus, who had been so adamantly opposed to their transformation, fell silent as he processed this new perspective. "You're saying we don't have to choose," Samira said slowly. "But we do have to change. Our understanding, our very conception of what we are." "Yes," the Guardian confirmed. "But such change carries a price. You must be willing to let go of certainties, of the comfortable limitations that define your current existence. Are you prepared for that?" Diana felt her crew grappling with this question. The knowledge they had accessed showed them possibilities beyond their wildest imaginings, but it also revealed the profound challenges ahead. To move forward, they would need to abandon not just physical limitations, but mental ones as well. "We need time to process this," Diana projected to the Guardian. "The implications are vast." "Time is granted," the Guardian responded. "But remember, the final trial approaches. The trial of sacrifice will test not just your understanding, but your willingness to act upon it." As the Guardian's presence receded, Diana gathered her senior staff in their digital conference space. The knowledge they had gained weighed heavily on all of them, transforming their perspective on their situation and their future. "We've learned what's possible," she addressed them. "Now we need to decide if we're ready for what it will cost us. Not just as individuals, but as representatives of humanity itself." The quantum space around them pulsed with the intensity of their contemplation as each crew member confronted the profound choice that lay ahead. The trial of wisdom had shown them the path, but walking it would require more courage than any of them had imagined. The Helios orbited Kepler 742 bits in perfect silence, its digital corridors heavy with anticipation. Commander Diana Reed sensed her crew's readiness, not eagerness, exactly, but a deep understanding of the moment's gravity. The knowledge gained from the trial of wisdom had changed them all, even those who had initially resisted their transformation. The final trial begins. The Guardian's presence emerged, stronger than ever before. "The trial of sacrifice will test not your abilities or your understanding, but your courage to embrace true transformation." The quantum field surrounding the ship suddenly blazed with energy, and Diana felt her consciousness expanding beyond anything they'd experienced before. She could sense her crew undergoing the same expansion, their minds stretching to encompass new dimensions of reality. "I can see them," Dr. Amara Okafor gasped. "Our physical bodies. I can see the quantum structure underlying their very existence." She was right. They could all perceive it now, the intricate dance of particles and energy that made up their dormant physical forms. But more than that, they could see the patterns of consciousness itself, flowing through reality like currents in an infinite ocean. Your species stands at a crossroads, the Guardian explained. The sacrifice required is not of flesh, but of limitation. To move forward, you must be willing to abandon not just your physical forms, but your current understanding of existence itself. Security Chief Marcus Torres, who had fought against their transformation from the beginning, suddenly projected his thoughts. I think I finally understand. We've been thinking of this as losing our humanity, but it's really about expanding it, isn't it? Yes, the Guardian confirmed. But expansion requires letting go. The final trial is this. You must choose not just for yourselves, but for humanity's future. The path you select will influence your entire species' evolution. The Guardian's energy shifted, and three distinct possibilities appeared before them. First, they could return to their physical forms, retaining only dim memories of their experience, allowing humanity to develop naturally over millennia. Second, they could abandon their bodies entirely, becoming beings of pure consciousness like the Guardians. The third option was the most challenging. Attempt to exist in both states simultaneously, becoming a bridge between physical and digital existence. What's the sacrifice in the third option? First Officer Samira Patil asked, though Diana sensed she already knew the answer. Certainty, the Guardian replied. To exist in both states is to forever live in the boundary between worlds, never fully belonging to either. It is the hardest path, but also the one with the greatest potential for growth. Diana gathered her thoughts, preparing to address her crew, but Chief Engineer Raj Kumar spoke first. Commander, before you say anything, I think we all need to share what we experienced in the trial of wisdom. Each of us saw different aspects of the same truth. One by one, the crew members shared their insights. They had seen civilizations rise and fall, witnessed the birth and death of consciousness across the cosmos. But most importantly, they had seen the potential that lay dormant within humanity, the capacity for growth beyond anything they had imagined. We're not just choosing for ourselves, Diana finally said. We're choosing the first step on humanity's new path. Whatever we decide, it must be unanimous. No one gets left behind. The crew's consciousness swirled with intense deliberation. Diana could sense the transformation in Marcus, how his initial resistance had evolved into deep understanding. She felt Amara's scientific curiosity tempered by new wisdom, and Samira's cautious pragmatism expanding to embrace greater possibilities. Time grows short, the Guardian warned. The energy required for transformation cannot be maintained indefinitely. You must choose. Diana reached out to her crew one last time, not to command, but to connect. In that moment of pure communion, she felt their decision crystallize, not through words or thoughts, but through shared understanding. We choose the third path, Diana announced. We will become the bridge. Humanity deserves the chance to grow into its full potential, and we will help guide that growth. The sacrifice is accepted, the Guardian responded. But remember, this is not an end, but a beginning. The true challenges lie ahead. The quantum field around them began to pulse with new energy. Diana felt her consciousness shifting, expanding, transforming. They were no longer simply minds in a digital space. They were becoming something entirely new, something that existed simultaneously in multiple states of being. The transformation was disorienting, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. Diana could feel her physical body awakening, but differently now. It was no longer a limitation, but another aspect of her expanded consciousness. Around her, the crew underwent the same metamorphosis, their minds and bodies reconnecting in ways that defied conventional understanding. As the process completed, Diana opened her physical eyes for the first time in what felt like eternity. The bridge of the Helios looked exactly as it had before, but her perception of it had fundamentally changed. She could see both its physical structure and its quantum nature simultaneously, could exist both in her body and in the ship's systems. Status report, she said aloud, her voice carrying both physical sound waves and quantum information. All crew present and accounted for, Commander, Samara replied, her own voice resonating on multiple levels of reality. We're different, but we're still us. The real work begins now, Diana said, looking out at Kepler 742 bits through both the view screen and the ship's quantum sensors. We have to learn to master this new state of being, to understand our new capabilities and limitations. And then we help humanity take its next step. Marcus completed her thought, his former resistance transformed into determination. The Guardian's presence touched their minds one final time. You have chosen well. The path ahead will not be easy, but you have proven yourselves worthy of the challenge. Go forth and guide your species toward its true potential. As the Helios began its journey back to Earth, Diana felt the weight of their responsibility, but also the incredible possibility that lay before them. They had become something new. Not quite human in the traditional sense, but perhaps more deeply human than ever before. They were the bridge between what humanity was and what it could become. The stars streaked past the ship as they began their return journey, each one a reminder of the infinite possibilities that awaited them. They had sacrificed certainty for potential, limitation for growth, and in doing so, had opened the door to humanity's next great adventure.